Hi, Language Arts 7. So today we are going to begin the process of writing your TDA. The first step, before we actually begin any of the typing for the actual TDA itself, is making an outline or kind of a graphic organizer for here. This is something that we are going to do together. And let's go ahead and look at the instructions here. Today, you'll be creating your TDA for Pose the Black Cat. The first step to writing a TDA is to make an outline for the paper. Use this Cami doc to outline your TDA. And right now, you're watching the video, so we're completing it together. So if you go ahead and click on this link, it will get you to this Cami doc right here. And we're going to be using the text tool to fill in our reasons and outlines for our paper. So let's first start, like we usually would, with our header. So on the first line goes your first and last name. On the second line goes my name, Mrs. Shepherd. On the third line is going to be the class and period. So LA, oh, why did it get LA 7, period 8. And on our fourth line, we have our date, which is going to be, oh gosh, what's the dates you guys are doing this? Today is the 21st for me. So you'll put in whatever day it is. Let's say 28 January 2021. If 28 is not the correct day, make sure that you change that. Okay. And if you want to put those all on their own like text line, you can totally do that. For me, So let's go ahead and look at the prompt of our TDA. In Poe's story, The Black Cat, the narrator reacts in a way that is perceived as irrational. Write an essay analyzing how first person point of view helps portray him as an unreliable narrator. Use evidence from the text to support your response. Okay, so the main things we're focusing on here, I'm going to go ahead and use my underline tool. How first person point of view helps portray him as an unreliable narrator. Okay. The first thing that we're going to fill in here is our thesis statement. And this is something that we're writing together. I've given you the first part. The narrator is viewed as unreliable because, and we need to come up with 3 reasons. We kind of did that in our active read. If we look back, we talked about him being an alcoholic. Alcohol can make you unreliable. Easily angered and violent. And a third reason could be that he's impulsive. There we go. So let's go ahead and use those. So the narrator is viewed as unreliable because he is an alcoholic. Oops. He's an alcoholic, violent, and what did we say our third one was? Impulsive. And I'm going to say overly impulsive. So that's our thesis statement. That is going to be the last sentence in our introduction paragraph. So let's go ahead and break these reasons down that we just came up with. Reason 1, he's an alcoholic. Okay, now we need to come up with evidence to support this. And we can look back in our active read because we highlighted things. So a quote that we could use, talk about how his characters changed. We can even look here. One night I came home quite late from the inn where I now spent more and more time drinking. Something like that would work, or talking about how he's greatly changed. I'm going to choose this. One night I came home. So I'm going to highlight that. Spent more and more time drinking. Copy. And I'm going to paste, and I don't care if it's different colors. If you want to go and change that, you totally can. Just highlight it, make it purple. For me, it's purple. If you want to do any other color, if you want to do it in black, you totally can. This just helps it stand out a little bit. Okay. How does this prove he's an unreliable narrator? How does being an alcoholic make you unreliable? So this is like our analysis here. When a person has been drunk, has been not drunk, drinking, their brain functions differently. They may not act like themselves. Uh, or view things as a sober person would. Okay. They don't view things clearly. Alrighty. So there is our first reason our narrator is unreliable. He's an alcoholic. We have a quote. One night I came home quite late from the inn where I now spent more and more time drinking. And then we know what he does right after that. Okay. He comes home, he gets mad at Pluto because Pluto doesn't want to be around him, and he cuts out his eye. Our second reason, if we look up here, is that he's violent. I'm going to say he's easily angered and violent. Okay. And now we need evidence to support this. And there's lots of evidence in here of him being violent. Let's look. We highlighted some easily angered. In sudden anger, I struck wildly at the cat, talking about killing his wife as well. Either of those would work. I'm going to choose as easily angered. Yeah, I'm going to choose this. So as the days passed, I became less loving in my manner. I became quick to anger and forgot how to smile and laugh. So I'm copying those sentences here. Control C or right click copy. And now I need evidence to support this. So I'm going to put it in quotation marks because it is a quote. Okay. And again, I'm going to change it all to be the same color. Ooh, if it'll let me. There we go. Okay, I forgot how to smile and laugh. How does this prove that he's unreliable? Again, we've got to do analysis. So he's angry, violent. How does that make him unreliable? A person that's easily angered doesn't, or like our narrator, is viewed as unreliable because he could tell us lies, and people won't want to be around him. He might also be quick to act without thinking, since his anger started or began, and we see that happen a lot. So a person that is easily angered, like our narrator, is viewed as unreliable because he could tell lies, Lies. And people may not want to be around him. Predominantly, a person who acts, he may also be quick to act without thinking. Due to his anger. And we see that, again, we see that happening a lot. Alrighty, our final reason that our narrator is unreliable, if we look back up at the top, is that he's impulsive. Okay, so he's impulsive. And now we need evidence to support this. What's something that he does that is impulsive? The whole cutting out the eye, that's impulsive. This is impulsive, also an example of violence. I'm going to go ahead and with our first example here. My soul seemed to fly from my body. I took a small knife out of my coat and opened it. I then took the poor animal by the neck, and with one quick movement, I cut out its fear-filled eye. Oops. Copy. Oops. And let me make this so it fits. There we go. All right, there's our evidence. My soul seemed to fly from my body. I took a small knife out of my coat and opened it. I then took the poor animal by the neck, and with one quick movement, I cut out one of its fear-filled eyes. So how does this prove that he's unreliable? His impulsiveness. A person that's impulsive doesn't think before they act. Oops. This proves that the narrator is unreliable because he let out all of his anger on someone else. His innocent wife. Okay. So now we have down below basically an additional outline for what each of your body paragraphs and your introduction and conclusion should look like. So we start with a hook for our introduction, and that could be a quote hook, that could be a narrative hook, that could be a question, and we are going to do this introduction together. There's going to be another video of us doing that together. Your body paragraphs, you are going to be doing those yourself. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. With the topic sentence, you're introducing what that paragraph is going to be about. You're not saying, this body paragraph is about violence. No. You would start it with, violence is another way that our narrator is unreliable, or violence is perpetuated throughout the story and makes our narrator unreliable. I never want to read I never want to read, this paragraph's going to be about violence. That's not, that's like little kid writing. You guys are above that. So topic sentence introduces what the paragraph is going to be about. not this paragraph. Ooh, G-R-A-P-H. Can't spell today. Is going to be about violence. Yay. Yeah, no, don't do that. Oh, I can't do the strike through thing. Nope, okay. Ooh, or can I? No. Alrighty. Examples from the text. So examples from the text, I can sum this up in one word. I'm looking for a quote. So you can use those quotes that we used above. But if you have a quote from the story, like if you think you have a better quote for violence or a better quote for him being an alcoholic, you can totally use that. Okay? So it just needs to be a quote. You then paraphrase that quote or put the quote into your own words. I want you to say, this quote means blah, 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 blah. Okay? Next, you need to analyze. So, why does this make the narrator unreliable? This makes, why does this make him unreliable? This make the narrator unreliable. This makes him unreliable because ... and you'll fill that in. And connect back to your thesis. So it's not copying and pasting your thesis, but it's just making a tie back to it. Okay. Your conclusion, very similar to your introduction, kind of reversed. So you're restating your thesis. If you want to start your conclusion with your thesis statement, that's okay. With the copy and pasted, that's fine. You'll revisit your main points. You'll talk about him being an alcoholic, easily angered and violent, impulsive. And then you're making a connection back to your hook. So whether it's that quote or narrative or question, you tie back to that. You don't copy and paste it. You just make a connection back to it. Okay. And like I said, you are going to be writing the introduction with me. So you'll be responsible for the 3 body paragraphs and the conclusion. And if you guys have any questions about this outline or about the TDA in general, definitely feel free to reach out. Send me an email. Do what you need to do. Okay. All right. Have a nice day, guys.